summit. Now, earlier, the president tweeted this, quote, "What has taken so long with the Inspector General's report on crooked Hillary and slippery James Comey? Numerous delays. I hope the report is not being changed and made weaker. There are so many horrible things to tell. The public has a right to know. Transparency." Now, journalist Sarah Carter is shining huge light on this story tonight on why the IG report is yet to be released, and she is revealing that the IG is being pressured to delay their findings, slow walk their findings, and also, get this, they probably want to release it on the weekend heading into a big summit with President Trump and Kim Jong-un. She writes that, quote, "The Department of Justice, the FBI are deliberately attempting to slow roll and redact significant portions of the Inspector General's report. And that's not all. Some are now concerned the DOJ is planning to bury this report on a summer Friday, like this Friday, leading into next week's summit. Now, perhaps ahead of that meeting with Kim Jong-un in Singapore next Tuesday. You, the public, have a right to see this information. This has taken 18 months. They cannot bury this. They cannot alter this. They cannot redact this. And it apparently seems to be slow walked, and they're trying everything they can do to take out the important findings here. Our questions deserve to be answered. Where's the report on the now infamous tarmac meeting between Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch? They're talking about their grandkids, really? Where's the report on James Comey issuing what? Writing exoneration after exoneration on Hillary Clinton in May before he even interviewed Hillary and 17 other key witnesses? Where's the report on why the FBI looked the other way as Hillary Clinton literally destroyed evidence as she deleted 33,000 subpoenaed emails, acid washed her hard drive with bleach bit, and had an aide break up her devices with a hammer? Now, tonight we did reach out to the DOJ. Shockingly, they declined to comment. And while we await the IG's report detailing how the fix was in fact in for Hillary Clinton, how Hillary Clinton did commit felonies, we do have new information surrounding former Navy sailor Christian Saucier. Remember him? He wasn't given any special insider Clinton treatment. Hillary Clinton willfully mishandled top secret special access information on a private email, then lied about it all. She didn't have any charges brought against her. Poor Christian Saucier. He took 6 pictures inside of a submarine that he was proud to work on, never put him out in the public. He was put in federal prison for a year before being pardoned by President Trump. Now Christian Saucier rightly is suing President Obama, James Comey, claiming that he was subject to unequal protection under the law. Good for him. Unequal protection under the law, our two-tier justice system, pretty much sounds about right, sadly. Now, speaking of which, the former deputy director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, he was fired, as we know, for lying, still has not been charged with any crime. There is a criminal referral. Now, McCabe is now reportedly asking the U.S. Senate for immunity in exchange for his testimony in their ongoing investigation into the FBI's mishandling of the Clinton investigation. I said it in January. It's the year of the boomerang, and this is now becoming a circular firing squad among some of the top levels of the deep state. We're going to have more on this tonight in just a moment. Now, first, we have some not-so-shocking news about so-called journalism in America. Look at this new poll from the Pew Research Center. 70% of the American people now have news fatigue. Well, maybe, just maybe, good guess on my part, maybe the American people are tired of the media's obsessive, compulsive, nonstop hysteria and breathless reporting surrounding the mainstream media's news coverage, their false panic over North Korea and nuclear war, their false panic over the Trump tax cuts, their false panic over so-called collusion with no evidence, and now false panic over a so-called constitutional crisis. Watch what our friends at the Media Research Center and us put together tonight.
President Trump declares he has the power to pardon himself, unleashing new fears about his response to the Russia investigation and the possibility of a constitutional crisis.
We're heading into a constitutional crisis.
So are we at a crisis point here? Maybe we're at a constitutional crisis. I don't know.
We hear the phrase constitutional crisis repeated over and over again.
On the verge of a constitutional crisis.
It's a view of the presidency imbued with absolute power that raises the specter of a constitutional question or crisis even.
This is exactly the kind of constitutional crisis experts have been warning about.
When does it cross over into being a constitutional crisis?
I told you they're lazy, they're overpaid, they don't do their work, and they just echo each other, and they try to outrage each other. Maybe the American people, clearly they're tired of the media's combative, blatant, abusively biased anti-Trump stance that they take every day. Like this example from today's press briefing featuring the Trump-hating pretend journalist, in this case, April Ryan. Oh, Jim Acosta got a break in terms of our show. Watch Press Secretary Sarah Sanders respond. Take a look.
Is the president aware that this is about police-involved shootings and not about disrespecting the flag? Is the president aware of that, Sarah, please? I understand you're going to Stephen, but I'm asking, is the president aware that taking the knee is about police-involved shootings?
The president has made his position crystal clear, and that it's about, I let you rudely interrupt me and your colleague. I'm going to ask that you allow me to finish my answer. I would be happy to answer it if you would stop talking long enough to let me do that. The president has made his position crystal clear on this topic. He feels strongly that standing for our national anthem is something that we should do. This has been made a political argument of which the president is not going to back down from, and he's been clear on it. Stephen, last question. April, I've addressed your question. I'm not going to continue to engage with you. Stephen.
The NFL is now telling people they have to stand. Will the president deal with the issue of police-involved shootings?
I'm going to deal with the issue of addressing your colleague's question.
And worst of all, maybe you, the American people, maybe you're just tired of the media's downright nasty personal attacks, including their recent coverage of the First Lady, our First Lady, Melania Trump. Now, of course, following a medical procedure for a kidney condition 3 weeks ago, well, the First Lady, well, she was only seen once in the public spotlight. By the way, leaving some in the press running absolutely wild with insane speculation, pushing some of the nastiest, vicious conspiracy theories you'll ever see. Look at this writer for Rolling Stones tweeting, well, I wish that I didn't suspect that the prolonged, poorly explained public absence of Melania Trump could be about concealing abuse. I wish that it was a ludicrous prospect. I wish the president wasn't a man of a history of abusing women, including those to whom he is married. That's outrageous, disgusting, and so predictable from your media. And that's not all. Look at good old David Frum, a never-Trumper, tweeting, quote, suppose President Trump punched the First Lady in the White House. Federal property equals federal jurisdiction. Then ordered the Secret Service to conceal the assault. The president has Article II authority over the Secret Service. Is that obstruction? Under Seculo, Dowd, apparently no. Of course, this disgusting speculation continued even on television. This is how insane your media has become. This is a mass psychosis that kicked in about 10 p.m., November 8th, 2016, when the person they thought would never win won by a big margin. Take a look.
A lot of people are wondering where the First Lady is these days. She dropped out of sight several weeks ago. They're saying we haven't seen her since the 10th. And everyone has their questions about where is she?
The last time we caught a glimpse of her was on May 10th. 24 days, more than 3 weeks. There's been a lot of questions about her surgery, her time at Walter Reed, and now her invisibility. How long does she have to be out of sight to make this a legitimate media story?
First ladies get media coverage. I don't care what your political ideology is, when a first lady disappears from the public scene 24 days after being in a hospital, of course reporters are going to raise questions.
As of the time we're taping this show right now, the First Lady has not been seen in public for 25 days. Well, I'm not surprised. It took that Shawshank guy years to tunnel out.
This is so despicable, even beneath the dignity of them. So-called comedians, so-called journalists. Well, there are actually 4 of them last week that saw Melania Trump but said nothing. I have multiple sources confirming that tonight. And by the way, she did have an operation. Maybe wishing her well would be the appropriate response. The First Lady did respond on Twitter, writing, I see the media is working overtime, speculating where I am, what I'm doing. Rest assured, I'm here at the White House with my family, feeling great and working hard on behalf of children and the American people. Would that shut them up? Probably not. That's how sick they are. And another anti-Trump non-story, the mainstream media pushing, literally this time, surrounding the Philadelphia Eagles being disinvited to the White House following the big Super Bowl victory. Earlier today, the press secretary, Sarah Sanders, responded. Good for her. Take a look at this.
There were 80 members of the Eagles organization that RSVP'd and committed to attend this event as recently as Friday, as well as over 1,000 fans of the Eagles organization. And the Eagles are the ones that tried to change their commitment at the 11th hour. And the president, frankly, thinks that the fans deserve better than that. This wasn't a political stunt by the Eagles franchise, then they wouldn't have planned to attend the event and then backed out at the last minute. And if it wasn't a political stunt, then they wouldn't have attempted to reschedule the visit when they knew that the president was going to be overseas. And if this wasn't a political stunt, they wouldn't have waited until Monday, well after 1,000 of their fans had traveled and taken time out of their schedules to offer only a tiny handful of representatives to attend the event.
Yeah, great treatment of Eagles fans. In this particular case, the president was right to cancel this event. And by the way, look at the NFL today. Look at this rule, the new rule, requiring players, that's to actually stand for the anthem, or else they can go hide in the locker room. Look at the owner of the New York Jets offering to pay the fines of any player on his team who protests the anthem. You know what? I've had it. This is ridiculous. I'm supposed to tune into a football game and watch a bunch of people that make a lot of money making a statement. Not the Eagles in this particular case, but they made a political statement as it relates to the White House. Really? Now they're going to hide in the locker room while the flag is waving and we're honoring men and women that fought, bled, and died for their country, fighting under that flag? Look at what Roger Goodell and other NFL owners have done to this league. It's disgusting. Let me be clear. I'm done with my Jets. In fact, I'm done with the NFL. My football day is Saturday. I like college football. And until and unless members of the National Football League gain the respect for the flag in this country and those that have sacrificed, bled, and died fighting under that flag, I'm finished. Instead of celebrating a football team today, the president rightly hosted a celebration for America featuring, the Marine Corps band and the Army chorus. And today, Americans do have so much to celebrate, including a booming economy. Wow, so different than just 501 days ago. Take a look.
Our country has never done better than it's doing right now. Never. Record numbers at every outpost. You take a look at what's going on. Lowest unemployment numbers we've had. Lowest African-American unemployment in the history of our country. Lowest Hispanic numbers in the history of our country. Lowest numbers for women in 21 years. We've created $7 trillion of value in our country since the election. We're the largest economy in the world and getting a lot larger and fast. It's happened very quickly, actually quicker than I even thought.
Only 501 days. By the way, what the president is announcing, good news for America, bad news for the Democratic Party and your corrupt media. Why? Because they want the president to fail. Obviously, they want to destroy Trump at any cost. Him being successful is not good towards that goal. And their little egos can remain intact. And by the way, their friends in the Democratic Party, they're so hoping can regain power. That's why this midterm election will be the most important in our lifetime. But that's not going to stop the president's economic policies from vastly improving this country. Remember the forgotten men and women? We've reported about the historically low unemployment rates, and now the Atlanta Fed is making a prediction the economy is going to grow second quarter at a rate of 4.8%. All right, let's compare this to the 8 years of Obama. Remember they told us that, 1% growth was the new normal for the United States. We should just all accept it. In other words, a crappy economy. You might remember 13 million more Americans on food stamps under Obama 8 years, 8 million more in poverty, the lowest labor participation rate since the 70s, the worst recovery since the 40s, the lowest home ownership rate in 51 years, and the doubling of our national debt, which President Obama then said was irresponsible and unpatriotic. Thank God the era of failure in Obama is over, and his destructive regulations, his high taxes have come to an end. And America's economy is now, after 501 days of Trump, booming. Look at your screen. Candidate Trump promised big wins for the United States, high economic growth, lower taxes, fewer regulations, and jobs, jobs, jobs. By the way, are you tired of winning tonight?